Saturday on Denver 7 News. It's a weather action day and snow is moving in for the weekend. How much you can expect in your neighborhood come Monday.
We are prepared if a more contagious variant outcompetes Omicron.
Today marks 2 years since the first COVID case was confirmed here in Colorado. Why health leaders are remaining cautious as we take a look back at how quickly everything changed.
I hope to do it as long as I can.
And later, some Denver 7 everyday heroes with big hearts sending medical supplies to those in need.
And we start with a weather action day here across Colorado. It is going to be a whole lot colder with snow moving into the metro. We did see a few showers overnight. Right now, it's mostly cloudy skies with more widespread snowfall and much colder temperatures later on this afternoon and tomorrow.
Well, good morning. I'm Jessica Crawford. Welcome to Denver 7 News.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us. And before we get to the winter weather, I want to start by just welcoming you to our weekend morning show, Jessica.
I'm so excited. It's my first day getting to co-anchor with you here on the weekend morning show and loving it here in the Mile High City.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have you. And you got to see a good taste of all kinds of weather this last week. It was sunny and 70s, and right now we're off to a cloudy start with 30s. Over the metro area, winds are calm, but elsewhere it is snowing actively over higher terrain. A live look near Winter Park. It'll really pick up in intensity as we get through the next couple of hours, and we are seeing snow falling near Glenwood Springs through the canyon there, so roads are snow-packed and icy in spots. Here's radar and satellite. Most of that heavier snow off to the east right now. We've seen a band moving through Lyman, out near Akron at this hour. Here over the Denver area, you can see mostly cloudy skies, but just off to the west, you will encounter some snow showers if you are heading to and from the high country. Winter weather advisories are in place all weekend long through early Monday morning. Areas shaded here in purple, including Fort Collins, out through Sterling and Julesburg. It'll be off and on snow showers for the metro today, more widespread for tomorrow, and temperatures in the 30s for this afternoon and only in the 20s and 30s for tomorrow. You can see those temperatures only in the high 20s, low 30s, and topping out in the mid to upper 30s for highs. So it'll be a rain snow mix at times here over the Denver area, and you can see just off to the mountains a lot colder, especially compared to just 24 hours ago. Let's take you live to some road conditions right now. We have our photographer Alan driving up in mountain traffic to the high country. Not too bad right now. You can see mainly just some damp roadways and mostly cloudy skies, but it will start to get a lot snowier and icier as we get into this afternoon and that snow picks up. In terms of conditions elsewhere, taking you past the Eisenhower Tunnel and really Vail Pass right now, looking just mostly just wet roads, but further off into the canyon, snow is falling. So just be careful and make sure you have the appropriate traction on your tires if you're doing any travel to and from the mountains this weekend.
All right, thank you, Katie. Well, breaking news, one person is now dead after a shooting overnight. Denver police say that the incident happened near Alameda and Havana just before midnight last night. The shooting victim was sent to the hospital with injuries where he died. Denver police don't have a suspect in custody at this time. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers.
Today marks 2 years since the first confirmed COVID case here in Colorado. And over the past 2 years, we've gone from full lockdown to partial lockdown, masks on, masks off, then on again, and several waves of new variants. Well, state health officials are now saying we are in a good place, but they are ready for anything.
And we are prepared if a more contagious variant outcompetes Omicron or is better at evading our immune systems. We also don't know the level to which immunity will wane by next winter.
And since Colorado's first COVID case 2 years ago, 1.3 million people have been infected, more than 60,000 hospitalized, and 12,500 people have died.
Since the first case was confirmed, you may remember our way of life changed fast. The week before the first case, Denver Public Schools sent a letter to parents saying right now the virus is not spreading in the United States. Colorado has no cases of the disease, and the vast majority of Americans have a very low risk of exposure. The Northeast Colorado Health Department sent out an email saying the risk to the general public is low. But 2 days later, the CDC said COVID-19 is a serious public health threat. Well, 5 days after that, we had our first cases here in Colorado. Over the next 3 weeks, things shut down quickly. On March 14th, the governor closed Colorado ski resorts. On March 17th, the governor closed theaters, casinos, and gyms statewide. Dining rooms for restaurants and bars were closed too. The governor orders schools to close starting March 23rd. Then the governor announced a statewide stay-at-home order that started March 26th.
What a journey it has been, and it has only been a little over a year since we started vaccinating the public here in Colorado, and since then nearly 4 million Coloradans have been fully vaccinated. That's about 73% of the eligible population, but in communities of color, the vaccination rate is lower, and the state is trying to change that.
A lot of that is systemic. It's been built up over years, and it's going to take time to build that trust, and so we continue to show up. We continue to be in communities where we know we still are looking for people to be vaccinated every single weekend.
And just in the last week, nearly 8,000 people in Colorado got vaccinated. There are Vax clinics this weekend at Waterworld, Dick's Sporting Goods Park, some churches, shopping malls, rec centers, and other locations. And you can get the locations and times on the state's COVID-19 website.
Even with mask mandates being lifted and the governor telling people to go on with their lives, we're still feeling the social impact of the last 2 years.
Significant increase in anxiety, uncertainty. Many people were financially impacted by what's taken place in the last 2 years. And I think many people experienced a significant increase in isolation and loneliness.
So how do you know when it's time to reach out for help? Well, experts say if you're withdrawing from people or feel a lack of enjoyment or interest in your favorite things, it's a good time to find support.
Well, new evidence points to a seafood market in Wuhan, China as the place where the coronavirus started. Researchers say it is the strongest evidence to date that COVID originated in animals at a market. An international team of scientists published extensive papers online, and they say the virus most likely jumped from a caged wild animal to people.
We're here to protest the war, and we were here against the Russian aggression.
At the state capitol last night, Coloradans gathered to not only demand Russian forces leave Ukraine, but to also remember those who've been killed in the fighting. One man we talked to is from Ukraine and has friends there. He's calling on the U.S. and NATO to put a no-fly zone over his home country.
That Ukraine really needs protection in the sky, right? We need to close the skies over Ukraine, and especially with the nuclear plants there. And that is a possibility of major catastrophe. So do it. Close the sky over Ukraine. That would help us preserve a lot of lives.
And this morning, as Ukraine's president is denouncing NATO for refusing to impose a no-fly zone over the country, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now in Poland.
And this comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin is cracking down on media outlets for reporting on the war, and as Russian forces continue to bomb critical infrastructure in Ukraine. And just in the last hour, a Russian plane was shot down. Here's ABC's Karina Mitchell.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is criticizing NATO after the alliance refused to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine. In an angry televised address, Zelensky called NATO weak and said the alliance would be to blame for any additional civilian deaths. Earlier, Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended NATO's decision, saying a no-fly zone could lead to NATO planes shooting down Russian planes and an even bigger conflict.
We also have a responsibility, as the Secretary General said, to ensure that the war doesn't spill over even beyond Ukraine.
Meantime, Russian forces continue their unrelenting bombardment of civilian areas. After an intense fight, Russian troops have taken control of a large nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine. A fire there led to fears of a potential nuclear disaster, but nuclear scientists say the fire is out and radiation levels are normal. Citizens and soldiers continue to prepare. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Lviv.
What is that? A mine? These are mines. So do they work still? Yeah. So this is to what, blow up Russian tanks? Yes.
While Ukrainian men stay behind to fight as Ukraine's martial law requires, their wives and children are desperately seeking refuge in neighboring countries. In Russia, the Kremlin and parliament are now threatening reporters with prison time for spreading what they call fake news, potentially outlawing words like war or invasion. Western networks, including ABC, pulling out of Russia, not broadcasting from the country. The State Department condemning Russia's move, saying, quote, "The people of Russia did not choose this war. Putin did. They have a right to know about the death, suffering, and destruction being inflicted by their government on the people of Ukraine." Karina Mitchell, ABC News, New York.
A Colorado coffee company is coming to Ukraine's support. Through tomorrow, Dazbog Coffee Company will be donating a portion of sales to relief efforts led by the International Committee of the Red Cross. Dazbog was founded by the Anatoly and Leo Yufa brothers who fled Russia in the late 1970s with their family.
What we want to do is we want to give back, just like the community here has given back to us. We want to give back to Ukrainians and let them have the sense of freedom that they've had before this invasion.
And buying coffee is just one of the many ways you can help support the people of Ukraine. We have a list of other ways you can help right now over on our website, thedenverchannel.com. All right, shifting gears now, a heartwarming story months in the making. A Colorado child loses a special stuffed animal several states away.
But thanks to a multi-state effort, the special toy is back where it belongs. Denver 7's Danny New has the story.
Kind of one of those things where you don't think you're gonna see him again.
This is the story of Milwaukee's airport, Denver International, and a rescue mission.
Yeah, we were going to Wisconsin for Christmas, and I was traveling with our 4 boys by myself, and we lost him in the airport, I think after we landed, I'm assuming on the plane or in Milwaukee's airport.
Anyone who has flown during the holidays can relate to losing something in the airport amidst the merry mayhem. Even if it's your 3-year-old son Archie's best friend, Puppy Elf. That is his name. I double-checked.
Ready to bring him home?
And it seemed Puppy Elf was lost forever in Cheesehead Land until a few weeks ago, when the folks at DIA got a message from Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport.
They let us know that they found this lost puppy at their airport, and he had a little Colorado TSA sticker on him. So they did the math, and they were like, well, I guess that means he came from Colorado.
Without requiring a crate or medication, Puppy Elf was very brave and took a plane ride back to Denver. Then Milwaukee Mitchell posted pictures of Puppy Elf's arrival to Facebook, and you know how fast a Facebook post can spread. Guess who wrote that top comment?
When my husband saw it last week, Friday, I think, on just Facebook, and he goes, is this his?
You see him? Yeah! Thanks, Sam. Where did you go? Yay!
Thanks to 2 airports working together and the kindness of their staffs, plus Facebook users, today a Christmas miracle happened in March.
Can you say thank you to the airport?
Thank you, airport.
Danny New, Denver 7.
What a reunion. Well, Danny says part of the reason this reunion was possible was because Archie put that sticker on Puppy Elf, and that he got that for being so well behaved while going through TSA.
I love that. The power of social media bringing puppies and stuffed animals back to their rightful owners.
What a well-traveled little dog, too. Yeah. Well, some wild horses are up for adoption this weekend, while the Bureau of Land Management says this is necessary to protect Colorado ecosystems and also causing so much controversy.
Plus, if you're looking to get outside this summer, how you can use a recreation.gov account to get into some of our national parks.